Zion with a loss already.
My bias would be different if we had cast IBM last week, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on Antigua Shipyard for Game 5, the final game between National Instruments and IBM. National Instruments started it off with a bang, taking 1-0, taking a 2-0 victory, and then all of a sudden IBM crushed their way back with 2 wins, clawing their way to the ace match, and now we are on Antigua Shipyard to see who will win this match. Who do we have as players, Rifkin?
Well, spawning here in the upper right corner of Antigua Shipyard, it is going to be the Blue Protoss, playing for National Instruments for the last time today, Frugalate.
His opponent, spawning in the bottom left, was random before, no longer random, decided he did not like Terran, and went for Zerg. He's none other than the Red Zerg, IBM's Zai.
Yeah, we were doing a little bit of post-game analysis on this, and I have to say, I don't know if it's Zergus' preferred race, or if he's just frustrated with the way he handled Terran before, but you know, it was a little bit of miscontrol on the supply depot that cost him the game, and I really feel he had a really nice control of his Terran play. I'm super excited to see how he handles Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, we did also see he is a pretty high-level player as far as I remember, so he also displayed it in the last game. He had very, very nice control. The one problem was that misclicked raised supply depot ended up killing him in the end.
Scumbag supply depot, man.
We do see Frugalate going for gate first again, though. I have to note this. This was not just a build specific for Howling Peak. It appears that he is doing this on Antigua as well.
My only problem with him going gateway first the way he is he didn't follow it up with much aggression. And the reality is, you can do a lot of damage with something as little as a Zealot and a Stalker. If you're going to follow that up with a couple Zealots and a Stalker, you're going to do that much more damage.
That's true, and one of the big things about HOTS is that you can get the Mothership Core out very quickly. If you go with 2 Stalkers, a Zealot, and the Mothership Core, you can do quite a bit of damage.
You can actually do game-ending amounts of damage. We've seen players like Pig on Twitter, TT Pig for those who don't know what I'm talking about, complain about exactly this. And he is a Grandmaster player, guys, playing from Australia. So even the best of the best have experienced frustration from the simplest things.
Yeah, such as, hey, did you see the QXC video?
Yeah, the very angry QXC video you made.
Speaking of frustration.
Well, that was Void Rays, and that was Terran, so it's a different story, but frustration nonetheless. And,
speaking of Southeast Asian players, Frustration is also a Southeast Asian StarCraft player.
Thanks, Penguin. All right, well,
you're welcome.
I was gonna comment
Thank you.
Frugalate is again making a really interesting wall. He's not going for it at the main of the ramp, and he's not doing it in quite a way that connects to the Nexus, but instead has a very exposed pylon, and that's what I'm a little worried about. Because, okay, the cannon's nice, the pylon can be easily taken out if your Zai wanted to do like a Baneling bust or something, but actually with the cannon incomplete, these 4 Zerglings will get into the main, or just take down the cannon.
Oh, he better cancel that. Those are pretty expensive. He does cancel it. Very nicely done.
Probes already seen full.
His probes, though. Jeez, that's a bit of an overcommittal.
That is a big overreaction. One Zealot can definitely handle this with a little bit of micro, but Zai also with some very nice micro, Penguin. And 8 Zerglings down to boot. No cannon being rebuilt yet. Chrono coming down on the second Zealot, but no control here from from Frugalate, as Zai has 3 very low Zerglings that could have been taken out there. Another cannon coming down, but the gateway seems to be the focal point.
He does have, as you said before though, he has several very, very low health Zerglings, so he does take 1 out right away with the probes. And he does buy enough time for that second Zealot to get out. He's going to lose that cannon though. No
cancel on that cannon, it's pretty devastating, but as the second one completes, he should be A-okay. Now the problem is the second cannon does not cover the surface area of where a Nexus could go.
Now, this actually isn't terrible for Frugalate at all.
I disagree. He pulled all of his workers immediately. He's had 4 floating around for a while. He's lost a couple even, not to mention the Zealot and the cannon. I mean, this is not game-ending damage, but he took some pretty severe losses for how little Zai put into this.
Zai invested 4 very early potential drones into this attack, though. They're only 6 workers apart, which could very easily even out with Chrono Boost, depending on how Zai defends to play this. Zai's also only on 2 base. He's not on 3 base, so I would say that this is a pretty even position for them to be in. Frugalate gonna get a bit supply blocked, though. That's gonna hurt him quite a bit. More drones are on the way, but he only lost a few. He only lost 3 workers there. He lost a bit of mining time, but he sent all of his drones right back immediately afterwards, except for the 4 that he kept at the back. And overall, Frugalate had a pretty solid defense, considering how awkward a position he was put in.
And not to over critically analyze Frugalate here, but he also wasted an entire chrono on that supply block, and it's not fun.
Ouch.
Everyone's been in that position at some point playing Protoss. Even if it's not your main race, you've definitely done that before. I know I've done that before.
Before as well. I mean, I play Protoss in team games sometimes, and that's like the one thing I do like every game at least 3 times.
Yeah, it's weird managing that chrono boost energy, but you know that's why Protoss are really strong, man. And if you can nail stuff like that, I mean, the simplest things make that race that much better.
Now, Frugalate is very, very heavily defended here. He has 2 cannons, one sort of a bit of a backup cannon here, but we do see Zai going for quite a few roaches at this point. Looks like he wants to go for a big 2-base push. Is he going to go right away? Yes, he is. He's actually rallying straight out. This could do devastating amounts of damage. The 2 gateways that were just thrown down by Frugalate are nowhere near done. And he is going to have enough sentries for force fielding, but I don't...
No, I look at the base here. All he's going to do is take out that cannon. The forward cannon, the backwards one, can't hit them at all. Once that forward cannon is out, Penguin, that gateway's vulnerable, the Nexus is vulnerable. I mean, yeah, the sentries will keep him out of going to the main, but why go to the main when there's so much vulnerable things here at the natural?
Frugalate's spending another 150 minerals on a photon cannon in the main, and he's doing nothing but getting sentries. This is looking devastating at the moment. He doesn't really have the minerals for anything else. He's getting a mothership core. That's going to help quite a bit. But it's not going to have the energy.
Charge. Yeah, it will pop, it will shoot. It can't be shot back because it's an air unit, but that's pretty much the end of the story for the mothership core. Cannon will fall almost immediately.
AP force fields as well. And he is going to go for the pylon powering that back cannon. He needs to start using the mothership core right away, and he is going to. But the mothership core doesn't really have all that much damage output.
No, it's an irritating poke at best. Now this Nexus might just get focused down, actually, Penguin.
Stalker's being warped in, finally. That's what he should have been doing from a while ago. And actually, Frugalate... No, Zai deciding to just go for it.
I was like, oh, I thought you had a lot more than that. I'm going to go back for seconds.
But actually, this attack by Zai has not done the damage that he needed to really do with it. It did a bit. He picked up like a zealot, and he didn't even kill any of the sentries, though. So, all in all, he just spent a lot of money and a lot of larva on roaches that didn't really do all that much.
That really distracted Zai, too. I don't know if you caught that, but for a moment, he was nearing 1,400 minerals. Just now starting to struggle and get all those units turned out. 14 roaches on the way, speed coming out as well. When he goes back for round 2, Penguin, he's going to go back hard.
He is, but on the other hand, we also have 6 gateways now up for Frugalate. So he does have an okay number of probes at this point. He's up to 38, and he is going to be able to throw down a few more cannons, a few more pylons, I mean, and a couple of Stalkers coming on out. He needs to produce a lot more pylons. There we go, 2 more just starting.
I don't like Frugalate's choice. Right now. I really don't like Frugalate's choice to be in the middle of the map like this, Penguin.
Not at all. I mean, he's
are going to actually catch the pylons. Will he get?
Oh, he can't engage this. He doesn't have the money. Not the money. He doesn't have the units. I can't talk this game apparently.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for Zai. I mean, he's had. Part of my saying this again. I'm not trying to be too critical, but he's had a bit of lazy macro this game. We constantly see his minerals very banked up. He's been slipping on injections, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. He's in a good position right now. And Frugalate, I mean, the supply really kind of tells what's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, we have a 3rd base finally down for Zai.
112 63 is just...
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this supply is inflation from the roaches, but there's no denying that he's very far ahead at this point.
Well, we're going to have to see how these players decide to handle it. Frugalate, again, choosing to be very aggressive here. Going to get caught very badly, Penguin. He needs to...
Yeah, he's going to lose a lot of these units. The roach speed, and he's in a corner as well. He's going to lose all of these units. Oh, he does recall them. Nicely done.
Very nice. Big props. Frugalate using the first recall we've seen in the After Hours Gaming League, guys, and he saves most of his units with it. But they're also low, Penguin. 3 of these Stalkers are 1 hit from dead. Shields are not. They're very useless for when this next fight happens.
Yeah, I mean... Spire on the way now. He's going to be in a very good position, especially against this Robo-Bay that's coming out if Zai survives long enough to utilize it. Does get some nice force fields out, but there's Burrow done.
No burrow speed, but this will heal these up very quickly, and the Mothership Core, of course, can no longer detect stealth or burrow.
Yeah, this is really going to hurt. I mean, as you said, he doesn't have Tunneling Claws yet, so they won't regenerate super fast, but they do already regenerate quicker than usual.
Yeah, I'd like for him to try and maybe utilize Time Warp when trying to deal with these roaches, because we just see them hit and run. And if he can hold him still, throw some force fields behind it, get a Time Warp in there, I think he's going to do a lot of damage, Penguin. But I mean, Zai, again, he's still, as you said, Spire is on the way. He's got so many roaches on the field. This is just looking so good for Zai.
Yeah, Zai's going to be able to deny the 3rd as well. That Nexus not able to be built on top of that creep.
Oh man, Zerg.
We have a Warp Prism on the way. That's kind of interesting. If he can do some damage with that, that might be a good way for him to try to narrow the gap a little bit. But Zai has a Spire. Zai has an Infestation Pit. Zai is just doing everything.
I'd like to point out, too, that he's going for Thermal Lance before Colossus. I mean, we're going to have a Warp Prism, no Colossus, and Thermal Lance down. A very awkward combination.
That's true. I'm not sure I mean, it's cool that he's going for a Warp Prism to try to do some aggression, but there's so many roaches on the field, I'm surprised he's not going for another Immortal, which is actually good for him, because with 12 Mutalisks on the way, another Immortal would not be very good.
Mutalisks are hard enough to deal with as is Wings of Liberty. You put him in Heart of the Swarm with his regen. I don't know that these non-Blink Stalkers can handle this. Guardian Shield will help a bit with the Glaives and what have you, but the reality is there's just so much here from Zai. There's just so much.
Yeah, he's almost maxed at this point. He's only 14 supplies shy of being maxed. Frugalate's at 101 supply. And, I mean, a bit of this is still inflation from the roaches, but Mutalisks are an example of a very supply-efficient unit, and he's just going to be able to just do a lot of damage in the main here. There's one cannon to defend. He needs to warp in some units right away. He actually has double Colossus production on the way. This is going to be terrible for Frugalate.
Yeah, he doesn't have the anti-air. And if I would like to point out behind the Zai, Antigua Shipyard is known to many as the map you never take a fourth base on. Well, Zai is going to take a fourth base, and it's going to be gold.
Yeah, I guess you could say he's in a pretty golden position right now.
No. You could say that, but I wouldn't, because it's a bad pun. It wasn't even funny. I'm unimpressed, Penguin.
Well, okay, how about this one? I mean, Zai's opponent might be a little Frugalate to being maxed.
Better, much better than the gold. And we got a warp incoming from that Warp Prism at the third base location, but
oh my
really,
god,
the damage
30 Baneling.
The damage this third base could do, even if it goes, it's not, but even if it did go down, would be quite frankly irrelevant because of this force that is camping. Oh my goodness, Penguin, this is...
Are you ready for explosion time?
I'm ready for the world to crack in half as all the Banelings clash into everything. Now he's got to have some force fields.
Oh, he's not splitting or force fielding. He's Rifkin. Oh god.
Oh man, I've never seen Banelings used so well against Stalkers, but there you have it. And now Frugalate.
The Nexus, but that's a very, very small win there.
He escaped with almost nothing, but the Colossus are here. They can't do anything about the Mutalisks, mind you, but the Colossus are going to be very good for dealing with the Banelings if he focus fires. And the Stalkers, I don't know, there's just the count doesn't seem to be there. There's cannons here, which will help a little bit, I guess, but quite frankly, it's the Mutalisks of Zai that are the scariest thing for Frugalate at the moment.
He's still double Colossus producing. He's got 4 on the map now. And, I mean, like you said, they're going to be great against everything except the Mutalisks, but on the other hand, he doesn't have enough Stalkers to deal with the Mutas if he's able to take everything else out. And I think Zai realizes that, so he's just going to go home and he's going to play a bit more defensively, which is great for him at this point, because he's on essentially like 4.5, 5 base with the gold mineral income.
And look at he's getting this nice little star of defense around it. You know, he's got the Spore Crawlers, the Spine Crawlers as well. And his third base is also still nicely protected. If this Warp Prism wants to get back in there for more action, it's got Spine Crawlers to deal with.
Now, I want to just point this out as well. We have +1 for Zai, for Frugalate. That's his upgrades. We have 2/2 on the way for Frugalate, as well as +1 for Air, Baneling Speed, and Chitinous Plating. Oh, and an Ultra Cavern, because that's the building he hasn't gotten yet.
I think you mean Zai, because I'd like to see Frugalate go for like adrenal glands and stuff. But
did I not say that?
No.
I swear I said Frugalate has +1 and Zai has everything else.
No, you said the first half of it correct, but they said like Frugalate was going for +2/2 after 1/1. I don't know, whatever. Now,
okay.
We got down. The Circle's actually chasing down the Colossus. Not something you too often see. Mutalisks focusing this down behind it. Banelings trying to get in there. Oh my god, the Banelings are going to connect to everything. He's getting behind what he can, but the Mutalisks still standing. The last Colossus falls. And the Banelings...
Actually, pretty nice micro from Frugalate in that engagement, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The Mothership Core has gone down.
Look outside
There's
the base.
a massive amount of roaches just chilling outside the base.
Not even going to let him get that probe pass. Still max. Zai has not dropped max supply status for pretty much the entirety of this game. GG!